that metal interview.
Alex Grossi is our next guest for this week on our podcast, That Metal Interview podcast. For all you followers and fanatics of the podcast, thank you for your support. Mr. Grossi, Alex Grossi, that is, will speak to us about the controversy on the internet about Quiet Riot carrying on without Mr. Frankie Banali, who passed away not too long ago. The infamous all-star drummer, tremendous drummer of all metal drummers, Mr. Frankie Banali, who lost his life to pancreatic cancer. A very brave fight he put on. And all due respects and our condolences to the Banali family, his wife and daughter, and all the Banali family. So we spoke to Alex Grossi about that, carrying on the name of Quiet Riot with the new drummer, the same lineup, Mr. Jizzy Pearl on vocals, Mr. Chuck Wright on bass, who's been there since '82 on and off. He's been with the band since then, so on and off. So Alex he'll also talk to us about his other projects, Hookers and Blow, a small update on that, and other surprising projects that he has for the fanatics, to all the Alex fans. Okay, so here we go. Here's Mr. Alex Grossi of Quiet Riot. Enjoy. Well, first off, I'm very sorry about the loss of Frankie.
Thank you very much. Yeah, thank you. Appreciate that.
You're a tremendous talent and guitar player, of course. Congrats on that, man. How long have you been playing guitar? How long have you been playing guitar? Since a small boy, or did you pick it up?
No, I started playing guitar when I was like 14 years old. So my freshman year of high school, I think it was. And once I discovered that and rock and roll, I kind of never looked back. I was pretty determined after that to do it for a living. So yeah, more than half my life, obviously.
Did you start off by playing an acoustic, or just directly into a rock band? Or
I got like a crappy acoustic for Christmas one year, and then eventually graduated to electric. So yeah, acoustic guitar.
I guess everybody starts with a crappy guitar, huh?
Yeah, usually you don't know if it's going to stick or not, so makes sense to do it that way.
Right. The Bad Boys of Metal Tour, for those people that don't know what that is, can you tell us about the Bad Boys of Metal Tour, and can you share some stories maybe of that awesome experience?
Well, first off, what happens on the road stays on the road, especially that tour. I'll leave it at that as far as stories. But that tour started in 2004. It was supposed to be an annual thing, but it only happened 1 year, and it was late Kevin DuBrow from Quiet Riot, Janie Lane from Warrant, who's no longer with us, either Steven Adler from Guns N' Roses, and the band Bang Tango. And I ended up playing guitar for all four bands throughout the night, through the whole summer. It was pretty grueling, but it was really, really, really cool to learn all those songs and get out there and play with everybody. So it was definitely a childhood dream come true, playing with some of those dudes for the first time. Very cool.
So this is pre-Quiet Riot, right?
That tour was Kevin's solo tour, and he hired me to do that, and then that sort of was the bridge to get me into Quiet Riot later that year. That was 2004, as I said. So yeah, that was kind of the stepping stone, the gateway, if you will, to QR.
Wow. I read you had to learn about over 40 songs to do that tour. Is that true?
Yeah, between all four acts, it came out to about that. Yeah, I was on stage all night. Definitely a lot of work. But I was only 26, so it was easy back then.
Yeah, you were more hungry, and well, I'm not saying you're not hungry.
Yeah, it was fun. It was a good experience. I don't know if I'd ever want to do it again, because we were also all on one tour bus, which caused for some good, definitely some good memories, or not so good memories. But yeah, I wouldn't trade it for anything. It was definitely a good learning and growing experience.
Awesome. Can you give us an update on Hookers and Blow? Is that still active?
Oh yeah. We have a new slower. Last single just came out. We actually is with Frankie Banali. It's "Trampled Underfoot" by Led Zeppelin. That came out a couple weeks ago, and all the proceeds from that go to the PanCan Foundation, which is the Pancreatic Cancer Network. And then after that, we're just going to keep. We have a cover record coming out, but right now with the pandemic and everything, a lot of stuff has been put on hold.
Yeah.
So. Yeah, but we're doing a live stream next month, actually, out here in Las Vegas. But other than that, a lot of stuff's just kind of being stagnant until the world opens back up for us.
Yeah, I'm in Texas, and there's a couple of clubs opening up in San Antonio and different areas of Houston, and so it looks
cool.
It looks bright. I guess for us musicians, I play a little bit guitar, so.
Oh, cool, man. Yeah, it depends on the state too. So we'll just see. You know, we're waiting. We're ready to rock.
That's cool. Hopefully it's soon. So us fans are ready to see live music, and you know what's going on. Yeah.
And we're ready to play it. So we'll see.
Awesome. Congrats on the work with Quiet Riot, of course. A lot of us never got to meet DuBrow or the late Banali, of course. How was it working with those guys, man? I mean, those guys are legends to us fans. That those are just, you see them on TV, on videos, and how was that experience, man?
I mean, the past 16 years pretty much have been great because I've learned a lot over the years. When I was with Kevin and Frankie, when Kevin was still with us, those guys, they lived through it. They did it for real. So, I was like trying to be as much of a sponge as I could back then and take it all in. And really, there isn't a day that goes by that I don't, use some sort of little pearl of wisdom or, industry thing that I wouldn't have known about that those guys taught me. I use it in everyday life. And yeah, Frankie obviously ran the show with Quiet Riot, so there's so much beyond just the music that he handled and how he did the business and all that. So it's definitely an amazing learning experience. I'm very grateful for it.
Absolutely, for sure. Are you guys getting any negative comments or feedback on the subject of continuing carrying on without Banali? And what's your take on that?
All in all, from our friends and family and people, in the industry, it's been very, very positive. Obviously there's always people on the internet that like to bash things, which since I've been in this band, every move they've made has been, slammed on the internet. But then again, so is a lot of moves that every other band makes. That's what the internet, some of those websites are for people to voice their opinion. But all in all, it's been very positive, and it's nice to see that. I'm glad we're carrying it on the way we are for Frankie, because that's what he wanted. And yeah, it's been good. It's really I'm really glad to see a lot of friends and family come out of the woodwork and support it, which is nice. For sure.
I saw a couple of bad comments, but to me, you guys are Quiet Riot because you guys are you're the last lineup, the latest lineup. Chuck, yourself, Jizzy.
Oh, I mean, Chuck's been doing this for almost 40 years off and on. He contributed so much to the Mental Health record, and he's been there essentially from the beginning. And people realize that, but you shouldn't forget that. And I was chosen by DuBrow and Frankie in 2004 to be the guitar player in the band. And I mean, Jizzy, as far as singers go, he's probably the most like Kevin in that he's from the 80s, the Sunset Strip, the metal days. He was there in, the 80s, which is a scene that Quiet Riot obviously had a lot to do with building. So he gets it. He's one of us, and there's a lot of lineage there. So it's been great. I mean, it's horrible circumstances, but I'm really glad, like I said, we're able to carry it on and put our best foot forward. I'm looking forward to getting back out there.
Yeah, keep going, man. In my opinion, keep going. That's Quiet Riot, and you guys are Quiet Riot. Yeah.
What we do, what else are we going to do? It's not like any of us can go out and get real jobs. This is what we do, and we put a lot into it. And it's what Frankie wanted, and it's the best way to honor him. I mean. And I always knew that anything Frankie didn't want to happen didn't happen if he didn't want it to. So I'm glad that we're doing it. We're going to do it right, and it's going to be nice to go out and honor our friends and keep the music alive. I mean, every year that goes by, a lot of these bands, people are going to not be with us anymore, or retire, or quit, and eventually there's going to be not too many guys from the heyday left, but the music's still there. So I think you're going to see, as time goes on, bands are going to keep going no matter what, because it's the brand will live on, the songs will live on, the legacy. So, that's just the reality of life. We're not built to last as people, but the work and the art we create and the legacy it'll always be there. So it's nice to be able to honor it.
That's great for the fans. I mean, keep the name going, the company going. I saw an interview with Doc McGee of Kiss, the manager, and he mentioned something about carrying on the name Kiss without Gene and Paul. So that's cool for us. I mean,
Yeah, I mean, they're the perfect band to do that because they're cartoon characters almost. So,
Yeah.
I mean, two of the original guys aren't doing it anymore. And I remember when that became the reality, you saw people saying, "Oh, I'll never go see him without Ace or Peter."
Mm-hmm.
And you know what? A couple months later, those same people were in the front row, loving it. It's a Kiss concert. How can you not? I went to go see it on, obviously before pandemic, and it was amazing. It was killer. It didn't matter who was up there. You're seeing that show and that production and all those great songs, and I had a blast.
Oh yeah, I haven't seen those guys live, but YouTube, it's kind of the same thing. And
Yeah.
Tommy and Eric, they do a great. I don't want to say imitation of.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
they're playing the role, and that's their job, and it works.
Going back to what you mentioned, Frankie. What was on Frankie's to-do list with the band before he passed away? What were his wishes?
There's no real specific. There's no real specific list. It's just keep it going, and his wife stepped up. She was doing a great job and kind of taking over the manager role, and just business as usual. Keep it going.
When you here's a different question as a musician question. When you were asked to join Quiet Riot, were you given a list of a bunch of Quiet Riot songs, or it was just was it a set list for the next gig, or how did that come along?
If I recall, I was given like 15 songs for whatever they were doing in their live set. Just did a couple of rehearsals, and that was it.
Oh, that was it?
It hasn't really changed much over the years. We did new music. We were working on that Rehab album at the time. Kevin and I were writing a couple songs for that. And we did some of those in the set a couple years after I joined. But other than that, it's pretty much been the same, same set list for years. The hits, the songs people want to hear.
How was it getting Cavazzo's guitar riffs and the lead, learning the stuff? How was that? Was it difficult? Or?
Everything's difficult if you want to do it right and do a good job. And the thing about those songs is they've been played so many times that every note of the solo people can sing in their heads. So you have to the biggest challenge is just recreating it and doing justice so people people like what they know, and you want to give it to them the way they know it. So not to overthink it and just play it like it is on the record.
Exactly. I understand you recorded some guitars on Rehab, a couple of songs, right? So
I wrote on that album. The guitars were done by Neil Citron, who also produced the record with Kevin and Frankie. But I wrote two songs, "Free" and "Strange Days," off that record with Kevin.
Okay, how was that? How was the songwriting with the?
It was, I would go over to his house for the weekend and just, lay down riffs into his computer, and then, go out and make a phone call and go for a walk, and he would just, sing over it and throw ideas down and eventually come up with something that was solid, and then we had the demo from there. Very smooth. I mean, he's a rock star. He knew how to write. He knew how to, he knew what he wanted. He had a good vision of, chord changes and certain guitar tones. So it was very cool, very educational.
Awesome. I love all the records, all the Riot records, Quiet Riot records. I love them all. I'm a fan, so.
Cool, man.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Here's a different question, man. Here's a singer question, kind of vocalist. Which vocalist would you say sounds more like DuBrow, or maybe give it justice, out of the different singers after he passed away?
That's kind of, we never really wanted a clone of Kevin because there's only one Kevin. You can't replace him. I would say, the singer that's close to him in spirit and in lineage and overall vibe is Jizzy. And thankfully he's back with us now. Kevin was a big fan of Jizzy. They were friends. In a lot of ways cut from the same cloth. So, Jizzy's obviously the obvious choice to fill that slot, but again, there's no really replacing Kevin like that.
I met Jizzy here I'm in a town here, Eagle Pass, Texas, by San Antonio, and I met him.
Cool.
I met him. He was doing lead vocals for Rat.
Yep.
This is back in.
We did a tour with.
Yeah.
We did a tour with him in Rat in 2005 when he was singing for Rat. He did a great job in Rat. He did a great job with Steven Adler. Great job in LA Guns. He's a pro. He's great. He's
great. He's badass, and he does a good job with you guys, man. Real good. I saw the videos.
Yeah. Yep. And he's a friend. He's family. It's not just like getting some guy that's trying to fit it in when there's no connection. He's one of us, which is great.
Awesome. What does Alex Grossi listen to on his off time? What stuff do you listen to?
Lately, I just watch a bunch of, a lot of Netflix, not music at all.
Oh, really?
A lot of music documentaries. But as far as, nothing. I mean, I just put on my, I ask Alexa to play a band I like and let it go down the rabbit hole or the wormhole or whatever you call it. But yeah, nothing. I haven't bought a new record either online or in the store in a couple of years. So just kind of listen to whatever. Always try to pay attention to what's out there, but nothing specific.
Oh, that's different. I've asked other people that, everybody kind of listens to music, but that's cool. That's cool, You just stay away from music, really cool.
No, it's not that I stay away from music. I'm not actively pursuing new stuff to listen to. I just, whatever's on in the background and, spend a lot of time doing other stuff in the business. So, just whatever I'm listening to. I can't think of any one new band that I'm really into, but actually the new Marilyn Manson track's really good.
Oh, yeah, I heard it.
I've been digging that. Yeah.
That's some good stuff, yeah.
I heard the whole record's good. I haven't heard the whole record yet, though.
Is it good? I haven't heard the whole thing, yeah.
That's what I've been told, yeah. So that's something I'll probably check out this weekend.
What's next for you, and what can fans expect from Alex?
Well, we're all kind of in the same boat waiting to go back on the road, but as of right now, we have Quiet Riot dates for later this year and a bunch next year and more coming. And, hopefully we'll get some new music out at some point, get the creative juices flowing with that. Just always still working with Dizzy, with Hookers and Blow. We have, we're doing some stuff later this year as well and some more recordings. Just doing what I've always done, playing guitar in a couple of rock bands.
Just keep going, huh?
And, one thing that is cool, I play guitar on the new Public Enemy record that comes out in a week and a half with Flavor Flav and Chuck D. It's their first album back on Def Jam Universal, and I got to play some guitars on that record, which is coming out in a week and a half. So, new Public Enemy, check that out. That's what I have immediately in the pipeline.
Oh, wow, I'll check that out. Cool. That sounds cool.
It should be a good record.
I'm sure it will be. Cool. That's different with Public Enemy. Wow. Would you like to send a message to the people listening to this podcast, something you want to say to the Quiet Riot fans, the Hookers and Blow fans?
Just thanks for all the support, especially lately. We really appreciate it, and I can't wait to get out and see you all whenever that may come. So thank you again.
Don't forget to subscribe, ring the bell for notifications on that YouTube video. We'd really appreciate it. Everybody here at That Metal Interview podcast. From myself, James, we thank everybody for tuning in to all our episodes, for downloading, for streaming all the stuff. So thank you guys and girls. Keep rocking, keep it metal, and we hope you guys enjoyed this episode with Mr. Alex Grossi of the great, famous Quiet Riot. There you had it. So keep tuned in and keep checking out our podcast. We appreciate it. We see the numbers, and thank you guys. Spread the word, share, okay? So, thank you guys, and don't forget to keep it metal.
That Metal Interview.